spending must be reduced to address our budget deficit and national debt. I have 5 grandchildren, and I do not want their future weighed down by the debt that we have created. I'm sure I join with millions of parents and grandparents across the nation who feel this way. No, there's no doubt that spending must be reduced to address our national debt, but spending across the board, spending mandated by sequestration, is not the way to make the kind of responsible and fact-based spending cuts that this nation needs. Let me talk about the impact on our state, my district, and on the nation. Sequestration has already taken its toll. Because Arizona is on the U.S.-Mexico border, sequestration cuts are especially serious. And those consequences, if allowed to continue for long, will degrade the security of our entire nation. In a letter this week to Arizona Governor Jan Brewer, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano wrote, "Reductions mandated by sequestration will necessitate furloughs, hiring freezes, and the elimination of overtime pay for a significant portion of our frontline law enforcement personnel, which will impact negatively on staffing levels in Arizona. This is not the right way to go. Reduced overtime and furloughs on CBP Border Patrol agents will result in diminished capability and capacity to detect and interdict illicit activities along southern Arizona's border with Mexico, one of the most porous areas of the border in the whole nation. It will also reduce the income of these agents by 20%. That's the wrong way to treat these brave men and women who put on the uniform every day to protect the homeland. So first and foremost, Mr. Chairman, before we make any decisions about spending for the future, we must give the American people certainty and reverse the sequester before the full impacts are felt by the American families, businesses, and our economy. We must work immediately to adopt a bipartisan and balanced budget package. Moving forward, Mr. Chairman, we must clearly show our commitment to a more secure border with Mexico. We've made improvements, but there's many yet to be made. As only one of 9 members with a border district on the southwest border, I know firsthand that many of the people I represent still feel unsafe in their own homes. That's not right. No American should feel unsafe in their homes because of incursions from across the border. We need robust funding for agents, technology, and communications on the border. We must also make new investments in our ports of entry to improve infrastructure and to increase staffing levels to ensure that the ports are secure and that legal commerce flows expeditiously. Mr. Chairman, let me now speak about defense. Among the 50 states, Arizona ranks 5th nationally in the number of employees in defense-related jobs. More than 42,000 Arizonans work in the aerospace or defense industry jobs, and the industry is responsible for more than 153,000 direct, indirect jobs in our state. Raytheon Missile Systems in Tucson, for example, manufactures Tomahawk, Maverick Sidewinder, and many of the other missiles that we need in our current conflicts. Raytheon also partners with Israel on the Iron Dome protection system that is essential to Israel's safety and security. Also in my district, we have 2 military installations that are essential to our national security, Davis-Monthan Air Force Base and Fort Huachuca. I am very proud to represent these patriotic service members and their families and our civilian workforce that works in Department of Defense related jobs. We must protect these assets that are so critical to our national defense and security. Morale in the armed forces has been seriously affected by the uncertainty and the cuts imposed by sequestration. By making robust investments in our national defense, we will ensure our readiness and security while dispelling economic uncertainty and creating new economic growth. Southern Arizona is also home to over 85,000 veterans. America's veterans have made every sacrifice we've asked of them to protect our nation and protect our freedoms. As we set our budget priorities for this fiscal year and each one after that, we must honor the promises that we have made to our veterans. And finally, many Americans come to my district from other parts of the country to retire. As a result, We have over 128,000 seniors living in my district. They have invested all of their working lives in a retirement income and medical care assurances in Social Security and Medicare. They are concerned, and I am concerned, about the long-term solvency of these programs, but we know for a fact that Medicare is solvent until 2024, Social Security till 2033. We have time to do the right thing to continue their solvency without making drastic cuts or privatizing these critical systems and services. Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you for the opportunity to discuss the fiscal challenges facing our nation. They cannot be overstated. But neither can we afford to shrink from our responsibilities
Mr. Barber,
to stop investing in this nation's future. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, sir.